Good evening, everybody. I want to echo some of Allison's comments. Thank you so much to Allison and the entire Harmony Chamber of Commerce team, as well as Harmony Spirits for hosting, and Estelle's and on the Crunchy side. My name is Kaylin Richard, and like Allison said, I'm the first presenter. But before I kick us off, I just want to share a little bit about the organization that I'm with. I work with CEDA, or Community and Economic Development Associates. Some of you in Harmony may know Chris Geeson. He's our CEDA rep here in town. But we work in rural communities kind of all over the area. And we partnered with the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, or SMIF, to put on these small business trainings. We are going to host them quarterly throughout the entire year, so this is our first one of 2023, and we're super excited to be having it here in Harmony. But there are flyers on your tables. Our next event is on Wednesday, June 7th, up in Lake Crystal. I know that's not super close to here, but that one will be on business operations training, so if you're able to make the hike up, we'd love to see you there. We'll be talking about customer service, setting and adjusting pricing, as well as hiring your first employee and how to retain them with a positive company culture. So just a little plug for us. There are also flyers on your table about more about who CEDA is and who SMIF is. Again, we work in rural communities and with rural businesses, so if you ever want to chat or get in contact with us, feel free to reach out. Now, I am going to be talking about Canva tonight. By a show of hands, do a lot of you already use Canva for your small businesses? Okay, awesome. So we got a good group of people who do, and also a good number of people who don't, so a good mix, which is awesome. For those of you who already do use Canva, I hope you're able to walk away from tonight with some new ideas on how to use the platform and maybe some different templates you hadn't thought of before. And for those of you who have never used Canva, we're going to be taking more of a high-level approach looking at the platform. But after the event tonight, I will be sending out a follow-up email to all of our attendees and provide some resources with some more in-depth information on how to use the platform and kind of how to navigate the website. So again, tonight I'll be talking with you all about Canva. So this is kind of a high-level overview of what I'll be going over. First, we're going to kick it off by talking about what Canva is and the importance of using graphics and media in your social media postings. Then we'll be talking a little bit more about creating content, and we'll actually be going into Canva, and then I'll show you some different templates and kind of how to work your way around the platform. Then I'll be showing you how to actually post content to your social media channels from the Canva website. And lastly, we'll talk about some different alternative media methods. So for those of you who don't know what Canva is or have never used Canva before, it is a free online graphic design tool. So Canva can be used to create social media posts, presentations, posters, infographics, all sorts of things. And like I mentioned tonight, we're going to be specifically talking about graphics for social media. But again, this is a really awesome resource and tool if you were looking to revamp your logo, create posters, flyers, brochures, anything like that. The social media platform we'll also be focusing on specifically tonight is Facebook. That's what I've found in my work in rural communities kind of works the best as an information sharing source. But all of these different templates and platforms are also transferable to other social media channels as well. So the importance of media in your social media posts. 54.9% of Facebook users follow or research a brand or product on the Facebook platform. I know I do this before I ever go to a restaurant or I go visit a new shop. I will, one, probably Google them, but two, I will definitely go look at their Facebook page. I find, especially for small businesses, that if there's a closure, an update on hours, new product information, events that are happening, that's probably going to be on Facebook versus their Google business profile or their website. So people are going to Facebook and other social media platforms to find information on businesses. People also get 2.3 times more engagement on Facebook posts with images than posts without images. So people are interacting, seeing, liking, commenting more on posts that have those pictures or that graphic versus posts that are text only on social media channels. 55% more information is retained when it is paired with an image, and people have a 323% they're 323% better at following directions with text and illustrations. So basically, kind of summarizing all of this is people are going to Facebook and social media to find and gather information. They're interacting and seeing those posts more often, and they're retaining that information better. So for example, if I am looking for something to do on a Thursday night, and I see, maybe a brewery in my town has an event on Saturday. When Saturday rolls around and I'm looking for something to do, I'm more likely to remember that event and potentially patron that brewery if their post had some type of graphic or image with it. So media and graphics and pictures are super important when you are creating social media posts. There are a lot of different ways you can utilize Canva to create content. And the point of Canva is, there are a lot of times when businesses can use maybe a product image to accompany a post. But there are also a lot of times when a product image just won't suffice to share the necessary information or what you're kind of hoping to portray. So for example, last Wednesday, we obviously had this huge winter storm hit, right? And businesses were closing early, people's hours were limited, employees weren't able to get to work. So let's say maybe you are a cafe or a bakery and you have chili that you're serving that day that's perfect for a cold day. A picture of that chili with, get it before we close early at 3 p.m. would work perfectly as a graphic. However, let's say you're an insurance agent in a small town, but you can't make it to work that day and your business is going to be closed. You may not have an appropriate product image that kind of accompanies that message that would accurately portray the information that you're closed. And that's when creating some type of graphic in Canva that will grab people's attention, grab their eye, and have that media component might work well for you. A lot of other examples for when you may want to have create a graphic or have some more media content would be when you have an upcoming event or you want to create event schedules, kind of like you see here. That's a list of all the upcoming events. If you're having store sales, let's say you're having 50% off for the holiday. Let's say you have an Easter sale coming up, something like that. A graphic may work. If you're updating hours or you're celebrating the holidays, I know a lot of businesses will just do a Happy Holidays graphic or Merry Christmas along with their post for that day. You can also post hiring information, who you're looking for, salary, wages, just the fact that you are hiring on Canva. You can also share product information and other service offerings, especially if you add a new service or new product. A graphic is a great way to kind of share that information out. And again, I know a lot of people may make, homemade signs for their storefront or to hang on their door, but having some type of graphic you can just easily post to social media is a great benefit as well. So before we jump into Canva and we kind of go through some templates and get into the platform, I just want to cover a couple things to consider before you're actually utilizing Canva. The first thing I want you to think about is to plan your content. When you get into Canva, there are a lot of templates, a lot of elements, a lot of colors. It can be kind of overwhelming. And when I say plan your content, I don't mean plan your entire month out on one day. I want you to think about what content you want to include in that one graphic or that one post, because it will help you narrow down what kind of template and information you're looking to share. So for example, in the event flyers on your table for our next event, on that, when I was looking for a template, I knew I wanted a picture, I wanted the name of the training, the type of presentations we were having, sponsorship information, a QR code, the dinner was provided, the date, the location, the time. There's a ton of information I wanted to include. So I knew I would need at least a full page for the information. I knew, a small square on Facebook wasn't going to work. It would be too busy or too smushed, or text would be too small. So again, when you're thinking about creating something in Canva, you have to think about all the content you want to include in that post, and again, it will help you more easily search for kind of the template that you're looking for. Tying into that a little bit is thinking about branding. Do you want to include your logo, your business name, especially in the context of Facebook sharing? Typically when you share a post on Facebook, the original poster name is at the bottom of that repost. So people won't know who it's coming from unless they scroll down or they're looking for it. So I would encourage you to try to put your name, your logo, anything like that on any of the content you create in Canva. And again, if you also think you're going to create something you're going to post on social media, but you may also want to send it to Allison for the chamber to share. Again, having that component so people aren't questioning, who is that from? What is that for? What event is that? They'll know, I think is super important. Also talking about templates. If you already have a vision for what you want your graphic to look like, don't go looking through the templates in Canva. Just start from a blank template. Again, there are a lot of templates to pick from, which is really great if you don't have a vision and you want some inspiration as you're scrolling through. But if you already have an idea of what you want it to look like, you're going to waste a lot of time looking for something that matches. I would encourage you to start from scratch and kind of build up your vision, how you're picturing it in your mind. I would also encourage you to double check your spelling. This one gets me all the time. I am not the world's best speller, and Canva does not have spell check. So when you are creating something on Canva, I would encourage you to either type your text out in a Word document or in Google Docs and then post it over, or just post it into a Word doc just to check that spelling, again, just to make sure you don't have any typos. And lastly, you can reuse your Canva templates. If you had an event 6 months ago and you really liked the format and the layout, it's okay to just copy that template and reuse it instead of wasting a lot of time going back and creating a new template. Also, you don't have to create a whole new template to do an event reminder. If you've already used it and posted on Facebook, just repost your own post. You're still going to get engagement, you're still going to get likes, it's still going to come up as a new post on people's page, but again, you're not wasting a lot of time going and creating something new as a reminder. So don't be scared to reuse your content and your posts and your graphics. All right, we're going to hop over into Canva, so I'm going to go to the computer and we're going to play around in there a little bit. Does anybody have any questions before we hop into the platform? No? Alrighty. Okay, so this is what Canva looks like. This is kind of the home page of Canva. So this is what you'll see when you first log in. A couple things to note is that Canva is a free online platform. So you can create an account for free, you can create graphics for free, you can post them for free. However, there are some pro options. So if you see something that has a little crown in the corner, kind of like this, that means that is something you'd have to pay for. That is especially important to look out for when you're picking your templates, because the crown's kind of small and you may find one you really love that's a pro, so just be on the lookout for that crown if you have the free version of Canva. Now, I did mention you can create a blank template or you can look through the existing templates that are already on Canva. If you click onto any of these, it will just bring up the blank template for you. So again, if I have a vision for a really phenomenal Facebook post and I know I just want it to be in this square format, I can start from this blank page and then build it out versus again spending all that time looking through the bunch of templates that Canva has for you. But if you do want to look for a template, if you don't have an idea quite yet of what you're looking for, you'll go to this templates page. So you'll click into it, and you can sort by kind of the template size that you're looking for. I do want to say, just because you pick something that's maybe in the business dropdown and not in the social media dropdown doesn't mean you can't post it on social media. You can post anything to social as long as you have the image, so to JPEG or PNG, you can post any of them. Just because it's not under the social media dropdown doesn't mean, again, you can't post that on Facebook. But it does change kind of the layout. So Facebook post is going to be square, an Instagram post is going to be square, a Facebook cover is going to be skinnier and longer like you would see in a Facebook cover, those types of things. So we will go ahead and just search Facebook post. So as you see when you scroll down, a bunch of different options come up for posts. With this, there's no specific text or theme you're looking for. This is just anything that's in that Facebook post format. If you are looking for something more specific, like let's say you do want to just say, you want to post a now hiring flyer, or you want to say thank you, you can just go into the search bar and type in now hiring, And it will pull up all of the Now Hiring templates. Now again, you can filter these down just to be those squares. You just have to do it once you search. So if you're looking for a specific text or a specific theme, I would search first and then filter by kind of that shape or size that you're looking for. So Now Hiring, and again, we just want to look at maybe a Facebook post. So I would spend my time scrolling through this and kind of decide what I'm looking for. How much information do I want to include? Do I just want to say, we are hiring, contact our team for more information? Or do I want to include information on our salary, the benefits of the job, the qualifications we're looking for? What are you really looking to convey in your graphic, in your post? I will also say, if you're using this for social media, you don't want to overload your graphic with text. People are still not going to read the graphic just because it's a graphic if it's filled with text. So the simpler, the better for Facebook posting. And again, you could create one of these as a graphic for Facebook and then create something else to print out or pass around town or create a flyer or something like that. But you would have to do that. I would encourage you to do that separately. Again, just include more information in a flyer and keep that minimal text on the social media platform. So I do also want to show you kind of a live editing and a live post. So I am going to search a thank you, and I'm going to post this to Sita's Facebook page as an event thank you to kind of walk you through what the process looks like when you're actually editing a template, and then how to post that to the social media channel. So I'll scroll down and I will pick this template. So once you select a template, this is that little pro icon I was telling you about. So again, this is the paid for version. Thankfully, Sita has a paid for version, so I'm still going to use this template. But if you're using that free version, this is kind of what you're looking out for. So once you select a template, you can customize this template. And this is what it looks like when it opens up. Now, once you're in here, you can still change your template. You're not married to this template. You still have the opportunity to change it. So if you start editing it and you just think this is not what I want, this is not the look I want to add more content than I initially thought now that I'm in here, you can still scroll through these other template options. If you also are in the middle of it and you think to yourself, this is not the right size, I do have more information I want to include, there is this little resize button up here. Resizing it, you can do that and it will kind of change. You can make it longer if you feel like you want to add more, and kind of make those edits if you realize you're kind of like too far into it and maybe you picked the wrong size template. Now, when I mentioned branding earlier, including your logo or the text, you will include your logo through this uploads button. So you can upload pictures, logos, videos, anything like that right here. You can also upload audio if you're doing something like that. And this is the perfect place to just upload your logo, and then it's a great reference point for you to come back to. So to upload the file, I'll just show you how to do that. You click upload, and then you would go to your downloads and you can kind of search for what you're looking for. I already have the Sita logo in here, so I'm going to scroll to find it. And if you also name your file, like let's say if I had named it Sita logo, then I could just search it in that search uploads thing at the top as well. So here it is. Another great reason to include your logo is if you want to have consistent colors, or you kind of want to create some type of brand identity throughout your posting. And I will show you that in a second. But once you have your logo and you have your colors, you can change the rest of the template to match. So I selected that background color, or it might make sense to do the text, and then it will pull in the colors in my logo so I can match it perfectly. So this is super helpful, again, if you want to create kind of branded content that aligns with your organization, or you have a very specific kind of aura you're going for on your social media platform. This is an easy and great way to do that. So I am going to change that to be a darker green. And you can see it's a little bit lighter. It's a lot lighter than the logo color, but that's just because it was transparent. So I'm going to make it a little bit darker. And then instead of for your order, I'm going to make it say thank you for attending. Now again, this is kind of a high-level approach to how to use Canva, and I will send out those, someone else on our team actually did a recorded version of walking step-by-step through Canva, talking about the colors, the elements, how to add things, how to resize, how to animate. So I will share that video out with everybody afterwards if you want some more in-depth tutorials on kind of how to navigate Canva. But this is kind of the gist of it. Once you start playing around and clicking around, that's going to be the best way for you to learn Canva. But there are a lot of really great tools. You can add pictures.
I think we can do better than that. Good evening. Hi. You should have like enough cocktails in you that you're all like, woo woo. A little extra. Giddy in your step, right? All right, well, my name's Tracy Lauritsen, and I am presenter number 2. And this presentation, we're going to be talking about how to keep your business profile up to date on Google. Can you guys all hear me okay? I'm usually a very loud talker, so sometimes I have to pull away instead of closer. All right, just want to make sure. All right, so real quickly, just who I am. Again, I've been in business for marketing, for about 20 years. I've worked for different organizations, from data analytics companies to starfish investors, retailers, marketing agencies, and I was actually in media as well. Most of the time, my positions were in executive level type of positions or management level positions, and I've done speaking engagements for a wide variety of different organizations, from, of course, Smith, CETA, Energy Issues Summit, and nonprofits like Optimist Club and March of Dimes. So that's a little bit about me. My business is called Crackerjack Marketing. And people are like, well, what does that mean, or what do you do? And really, it's really about being analytical and purposeful in what you do every single day. So whether that's typically in the marketing realm, but relaying that back into the sales realm, and then measuring that with analytics, and then modifying so that you can do that better and improve it. I get asked all the time, what does Crackerjack actually mean? This is the true definition of what Crackerjack is. But to me, it is about the remarkable, wonderful, and superior relationships that I have with my business partners. So that's why I tick. All right, enough about me. I have to ask a quick question first, because I know there's some people here that drove a really long way, and I can't believe you're here. How far did you drive?
It was an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay, I thought it was further than that.
Okay, 2 hours.
2 And you're in the front row. I cannot believe this. They've been to many of these presentations, so my dear friends keep coming back. I don't know how or why, but here I am again. All right. So keeping up with business, or your business profile on Google is what we're talking about here today. So really, what does that mean, right? This is Google. Is everyone familiar with Google?
Heard of it.
Heard of it? Okay, yeah, great. Hopefully, because it's the #1 most used web domain, period. The #1. Actually gets tens of billions, with a B, of users monthly. Not annually, monthly. It's huge. And 60% of people say that consumer interactions start with a search. So this is why Google is important. It's why it's important to keep your information up to date on Google. It is the powerhouse. And here's a little fun fact for everyone. Google likes when you do Google stuff. So whether you think that this is worth your time or not, Google likes when you do Google stuff. So I encourage you to do, if you want to be found, doing Google stuff. So that's what this is about. All right. So starting with the search, why is this super important to be up to date on this? Is 93% of all online experiences start with an actual search. I'm searching for something. So it's super, super powerful. All right. So how do you even begin, right? It's just, if you don't have a page claimed, or you're starting a new business, or maybe you took over a business or something like that, you have no idea where to begin, you simply type in business.google.com and you will get there. So what it'll bring you to is this page right here, and you can type in your business name in that search and it'll show up. If there is a recognizable business, they will show up in this search. Whether you have it claimed or not, it will still show up in there. So if you own that business, then you can claim that page, okay? If you don't, it's a brand new business, you can ask or submit to Google to add to a profile, to build a profile for you, okay? So it's that simple. Yes, it does take a little bit of time because Google does verify that you really are a business. They don't just like, woo, today you get a Google page. No, they do verify that. So, but that's how you start. If you wear multiple hats, like I do, and run social media channels for multiple locations, multiple organizations, you can have and monitor more than one Google page. So the same URL, just /locations, and that will bring you to all of your profiles that you manage. So if you manage more than one, here's where you would go to do that. Sorry, I just wrote business 1, 2, 3, 4 over the top of my clients so that you wouldn't see them all. But anyway, this is what you would get in that page here. And you can simply click whatever business that you're going to update your information for within this. You can go to that right side right there that says see your profile, and then you'll get right to that business profile's Google business page. Everyone good so far? Didn't lose anyone? All right. All right, so this is what it looks like today. And if you haven't been on your Google business page for a long time, just a note that Google does make updates to their profile pages a lot. Actually, during COVID, I think that they had different components and options and notifications that you could do literally like every single day I went there. So don't be surprised if you've been on your Google business page and it didn't look like this, because they do make updates and modifications to this all the time, which is also a really good reason to go in and make sure that your information is up to date and they're utilizing all of the tools that they have available for you to use. So really good to do that from time to time. So this is what that looks like to get started building your profile. You can do that a few different ways. You can, I'm so sorry. Okay, all right, so if you saw that zoom up into that corner there, there's a radio button. And so that button, I think people don't really realize is there a lot of times. And that's actually a really great place to look, because you'll see your business profile settings, notifications, which I encourage you to go in and make sure that you have your notifications turned on. You want to be notified when someone's, does a review or makes a suggestion for an edit, and we'll talk about what that means in just a little bit. But you want to make sure you have your notifications turned on. Again, another area where you can add another business if you wanted to. You can look at your business profile, so getting you back to that locations page that I just showed you. Help and support, send feedback, and terms. But the business profile settings, that's an area that you can go to and give someone access to your Google business account. So let's say Kathy is managing her Google business account, but she wants Joe to also be able to manage it. Joe's like, yes! Shut up, Tracy. You can do that right here. So you can assign managers, you can give them different permission levels, so maybe they're not, the administrative person, but they can manage some things in there for you. That's where you would go. So a lot of people don't know where to find that. That's where that little radio button is, right there. Other features you can do, some advanced settings, like adding store codes and things of that nature. But another place that people get lost is this remove business profile. This is where if you bought someone else's business and you want to transfer that information, this is that area that you would find to do that. So I know that radio button gets missed a lot, so I just wanted to show that to you really quick. And then linked accounts, if you do have like a Google Ads account or something like that, you can link that here as well so that everything talks to each other. So that's a little secret there up in that corner. Okay, so to get started though, you can do it a number of different ways. You can go to this scroller here where there's multiple options to do. Can you see that? I'm so sorry. Okay, all right. Dear Lord. All right, you can complete your profile right there, right? Or up at the top there, right next to that radio button, that little secret right there, you can complete your information. Or you can go to edit profile. I encourage you to go to the edit profile because you have lots more opportunity in this little tab than you do in the others. The others are just like a quick like, woohoo, all right, got it claimed. All right, I got my business name in there, but you can get a lot further when you go up to the top here. So edit profile. So we're going to spend some time in here. So here's what's in that section and why each of these components, little tips on how you can take advantage of these components. So basic information, right? You're like, yeah, I'm in business, blah, 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 blah. No, really take time to look at this. The most important part is the description. So of course, business name, easy. Business category, I actually want you to think about that for a moment because you can put up to 3 different business categories in there, but Google will give you a one primary business category. So if you're a restaurant and you're a bar and grill and you do takeout, which one would you prefer that to be your primary? So think that through because what you put in there first is the primary. And I'll show you how that gets incorporated into your profile in just a little bit, but think that through. And then the description. I think this is the most underused portion of Google business pages that everyone has. They're just like, started, I have burgers and fries. Move on, right? This is actually searchable content. So this is really, really important to have purpose in and think about and update constantly because if you today, sold burger and fries, but tomorrow you also served pizza and it is not in here, the chances of someone doing a Google search for pizza in your area will limit you to that because it is not in here. So all of that detailed description is super important. And my fun fact tip here is to use words that you think people will search and use. So if you are a liquor store and you sell beer, specifically say that you sell off-sale beer versus, this is a really bad example, but versus saying I sell Heineken, because the chances of someone searching for Heineken is much more limited than beer. Does that make sense? Good? All right. Awesome. And then opening date. All right, so the next section at the top here, I'm just moving through. All right, is your contact information. Again, if you have more than one phone number, you want to make sure you put the phone number in here that you expect people to call. So if you have your Google profile, right? Have you guys ever done this before? And you're like, oh, looking at business 1234, wonder if they're open. And you hit the call button and it goes to like some random cell phone or an answering machine or whatever, right? Have you ever experienced this? My goodness gracious, people. So put the number in there that you want people to hit the call button and actually get a hold of you on. Okay, and then website, of course, you want to link back to your website. And I encourage you to all look at that and make sure that it works. I can't tell you how many businesses I've looked at their Google profile and I'm like, yep, that's not a working website address. Doesn't help you at all. And here's how that also helps you is that Google and the bots, right, they read each other. So if you have a website built and you have this URL wrong, it's not associating them together. So when it comes to that organic search criteria, and by the way, today I'm only talking about organic information. There's a whole lot of paid stuff we could do, but let's get your organic stuff figured out first, right? And then we'll deal with the paid stuff. But those bots read that information, and so when you're getting looked up in that search engine criteria, it's not relating that content back to this, you will have a harder time of being found. Again, Google likes Google stuff first. It's just a tip. All right. And then location, of course, put your physical location in there. This is where Google Maps is going to get that information from. Google likes Google stuff. I'm going to say that over and over again. So they intertwine. And this actually, if you were on your Google page or profile page and you click the little arrow, it will go to Google Maps and it will show up exactly how you have this address in there. So that's how it's being found. All right, the other thing that I think people miss out a lot on is this bottom section, the service area. So you can physically put in there, I service the Rochester area, Southeast Minnesota, or not Southeast Minnesota, it has to be a physical location, but Harmony or Preston or whatever, but be very specific with that search area, because again, this is searchable content, right? So if I'm looking for a pizza place in Harmony, but I'm in Preston and that's not in my service area, there's a chance I'm not going to show up as an option. Does that make sense? Right? This is also logical, right? But we don't do it, do we? All right. And then hours. This is a lot. COVID did this a lot. There used to be a lot of different things going on with hours. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hi. Yes.
Going back.
Do you want me to go back? Okay. How far?
Just right there.
Okay.
So the service area.
Yeah.
Like, we are a physical location. We don't do anything off-site. So how far do you go on that service area?
I would say, well, what kind of business are you? Can I ask?
Corn maze, pumpkin patch.
Oh, super fun. How far would people travel to go there?
We have people 2 hours away.
I would start closer and work your way out, because you want the most visitors, not the least visitors, right? Does that make sense? So I would work your way out. Does that help?
Typically then, or
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So like here, Winona? Yeah, absolutely. You bet. Great question. Good? Okay. All right. No. Perfect. Love it. Business hours. Okay, so your typical business hours, right? You just put those on there, no big deal. And then under that, there's holiday hours. So you can update your holiday hours a whole year in advance, right? You can do all of 2023. I know my office is going to be closed on all of these different dates, and get that done and out there and posted. Now, what may happen is Caitlin talked about it, a snowstorm, right? And you had to close your office early. You can go in and modify that to say that you're closed early. So when someone does a Google search before they drive to your location in a snowstorm, they will see immediately that you are closed. Super helpful. Yeah.
How about, I'm in the sheriff's office, so by appointment?
Yeah.
Like evening appointments or Saturday appointments?
Next slide. Excellent question. Yes, I love when I have insurance people in here, because I have a lot of insurance tips that I throw out. Just kidding. All right. Great question, though. Yes, so holiday hours are in there as well. And then you can also have secondary hours. So let's say you have appointment only hours, or you have drive-through hours, or you have senior citizen hours, or whatever it is. You can add different categories of specific hours. And you can, when you do that, you pick it again by day. So, no appointments on Monday, whatever it is, you can do all that. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many questions. Hi!
Are you aware of an easy way to do seasonal business hours? We've struggled with that in the past.
Oh.
So that we're permanently closed. We don't want to be temporarily closed because we are seasonally closed.
Yes, that is a great question. What I would most likely do is I would start with a post and have that up there. And I'll show you a post that I did for tonight's event so you can see that. But that would be a really great place to start. And then I would just label your hours as I would not label your business as permanently closed. I would just reissue your Monday through Friday or whatever. Just closed, but certainly have a post that talks about your seasonality.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, it wouldn't let us put every day of the week closed without it showing permanently closed.
Yeah.
We had to do one random day of the week, like for a minute at midnight and be over.
Right. Or, what you could also do, I'm going to go back. Do you mind here just a sec, people? take time out if you need. You could put your regular business hours there and then mark your holiday hours as your close dates would be another way to get around that. Yeah. Great questions. All right, and then the More tab. So this gets us a little bit deeper into that process, right? And these are all optional, just so you know. So the first one here is, from the business. Are you a veteran-owned business, woman-owned? So there's opportunities if that's important to you to list that there. You can add or edit your products, your services, bookings. So again, if you have some type of booking calendar, appointment calendar, that's where you would add that right there in that little bookings tab. So that's a good one. Calls, you can set up, it's in beta still, I believe, but you can set up a Google phone number, so it's specifically you know that it's coming from Google. The kind of crappy part about it is when you get the call, though, it'll say Google call, so like they don't leave their number thinking like, well, I called them from my cell phone, they saw my phone number, they'll call me back. They won't see it, so it's, pick your poison. Q&A, add an update. So this, I think, is an underutilized area. We'll talk about in a minute. And then asking for reviews. So those are a whole bunch of different things that you can do in the advanced settings section. But we're going to talk about two primary ones. So add update. Again, this is where Google is going to be getting updated search criteria based off of what you're posting. So Caitlin was just talking about, posting different things on social media. You can take that same post and post it right here to your Google page if it's important. So when I think about this, I always say, think about what your customers want to know in the moment. So if you have a brand new product that you want to introduce, that's something really good to update on your profile and do a post for. So just think about that. If I am searching for a business, what in the moment do I want to know? That's kind of an easy way to think about that. But another thing that you can do, so in addition to adding an update, you can make an offer. So like, let's say Christmas time is here, and you are doing a big promotion for a week-long holiday event and for a nonprofit. And if you donate to a nonprofit, you get 10% off your whatever. You can add different offers here. So that's a great way to do that as well. And then adding events. So if you're hosting an event like today, you could certainly add that event to your Google business profile. And it's super easy. They don't ask you 1.5 million questions to get this posted. They just want to know the basics. So, event title, date, time, all that kind of stuff. The event details, again, I'll go back to that. Content is king. So this is the searchable content, is what you write in that event details. So be purposeful about what that content is. And then you can add a button as well as a call to action. So if you wanted someone to sign up or register or whatever, you add that button in there, and then poof, it gets added to your business profile. So you can see today's event I added to my business profile. And that is all here. And someone could sign up and come to this event from there. So another way to just help relate event information, you can also, help promote an event for someone else. All right, so that's it. That's what that looks like. All right, so reviews. I'm going to talk about reviews because they're so important, and I think they really get underutilized. And here's how important they are. 93% of people say they were influenced by an online review. Amen. I got an amen over here. Anyone want to top that? All right. 93%. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And this is where I think people kind of forget about as well, is it's not just about the online review that was placed. It's about how you reacted as a business owner to that online review. And I always say, reply to everyone, every single review, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, just reply to that review as fast as you can, but with good thoughts on what that means, and I'll show you a couple examples in just a second. But to get reviews, people ask me that all the time, how do I get reviews, right? Well, you can do basic things like, hey Chris, will you give me a review? Yay, awesome. On Google. Okay, better. All right, so I just want to be specific. LinkedIn, no, I'm talking about Google today. So you can ask for reviews, you post a sign, do all of those kinds of things naturally that people think about. But you can also use the tool to ask for a review. So on those advanced settings, there's a button called Ask for Reviews. So you can simply click that, and it will give you a URL link to send on Facebook, and an email, text message, whatever you want to, so that whoever you're asking for a review has zero work to do. Right? So cool. Yes, because when you ask someone to do a review, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna have time. Yeah, but if I sent you that and you're like, oh yeah, I'll do that right now. I just click the button and do it. Super easy. So utilize, again, tools that are available to you. So that's one way to do it. And then the other thing, if you don't have your, back. I'm going back. You want me to go back? I know you do. What you got, girlfriend?
Multiple people write reviews that are not showing up on my page.
Oh.
Do you know, maybe that's a question for later, I don't know.
I would love to look at that.
Okay.
And you're sure that they're doing it to your correct page?
Well, they sent me screenshots that they can see it on their end.
So here's what I
Later?
yes. Okay. But one thing I would be concerned about is if you have multiple profiles. I know, ooh, right? Son of a gun.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
Ooh, I got an ooh. I've never had have I had an ooh before, Kathy? My Lord, I got an ooh tonight. Write that one down. All right. Woo. Okay, asking for reviews. Oh, I'm going back, not forward. I'm like, we already did this. Moving on. You got me all flustered with the ooh there, people. And the shivers. Goodness gracious. All right. And here's where you can go and read your reviews. So if you haven't gone here, I would encourage you to go there quick. You have, okay, so shivers. All right, but if you don't have your notifications on, or even if you do have your notifications on, I would encourage you to go to your read reviews once in a while just to make sure one didn't get slipped through the cracks, and then ensure that you're responding to that. Even if it's a week later, still respond. And so you can respond in a variety of different ways. I mean, it can be super simple, like an employee could give you a review and you're like, great, thanks, we appreciate you being part of the team. It can be something simple like that. It can be, I'm glad that you had a pleasant review, whatever it is, but some kind of response. It can be something really long too, if you know it's a lifetime customer. Allison, can you tell Gabby I put her up here? Sorry. All right. She left a wonderful review, so I thought it would be a good one to share. But you can be personal with your response. Hey, Gabby, we appreciate your kind words and look forward to working with you, and you're such a good part of the community, and just be personal with it. You are the business, and these are your customers. So talk to them. It's okay to talk to them in that personal tone. And it's also, I think, encouraging when you recognize the person that wrote the review. So thank you, Brandon, for doing this review. That's really nice. And they get notified, that you have responded to their review. So not only does the public get to see that you responded to it, Brandon got to know that you cared enough to also respond. And this can go good and bad as well. So I saw on a review one day, it's not a customer of mine, but this is a true story. I was in a different town and I was like, I got done with my meetings early. I am so wanting a pedicure right now. I don't need one, but I'm just like, woohoo, I'm out of town and I want a pedicure. So I jumped online and started reading some Google reviews because I don't know. I'm in some other town that I have no idea. And I came across this review that was very bad. This woman was like, I have been back in your store 3 different times with my chipped tips or whatever it was, blah, 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 and just went off and off and off. And the business owner replied to that message and said, hey, Susie, I again am so sorry that you were experiencing this. I know we've talked about it the 3 times that you've been in. I know that, we have fixed the first couple, but I also do remember telling you over and over again, right now during COVID, people are using a ton of hand sanitizer, and that kills the acrylic. I'm making that up. I don't know anything about nails. That kills the acrylic, so they're going to be much more susceptible to cracks. And so I'm really sorry that you're experiencing this, but that's why you're experiencing this, and we can't just keep repairing them because it's going to continue to happen. Maybe you should look at a different product if this is continuing to happen to you. And just the way that this business owner wasn't like, you know what, we blah, 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 bent over backwards for you, and they were very kind, they explained it, so I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense, we're all using hand sanitizer, hello. Pass, they get a pass for that one. You know what I mean? So even though it was a terrible review, I still felt really good about the response. So the response does matter.
Did you go there?
I did go there. I did. And I had a great experience.
Did you leave a review?
I may have had a glass of wine too. That might have helped with my experience. I'm not really sure. No, it was very good though. Yes. All right. Good. Everyone good here? Following along? All right. Whew. Okay. So there's a few different ways. People ask, like, how do I help a friend out? And I normally wouldn't put a slide like this in here, but I know you guys are all small town, and you like to help each other out. And we've got chamber people here and economic development people here, and we all care about each other. And so there's different ways that we can help each other out to do this, right? So a few ways that you can get involved. One, of course, right, well, actually, this one is, I take that back. You can suggest an edit. I don't know if you guys ever knew this. So if you've been at a business and you're like, oh, they have wheelchair accessibility. I'm making that up. And that's important to you because you just, broke an ankle and you're on crutches, and normally you wouldn't care about that, but you do care about it all of a sudden. It means a lot to you, right? I've been there. Knee surgery, actually. But you can suggest an edit and say, hey, business owner, you should tell people that you are wheelchair accessible, that you have that. And so that's a really great way to help each other out to ensure that you're getting the most out of your Google business pages. So when you do that, what happens, I'm sorry, I actually did go and look at all of my clients to see if there was a suggested edit that I could show you an example of, but no one had any. But if you do get a suggested edit in your profile information, remember when we were going through the basic information, hours, about us, and all of that kind of stuff, the more section, there will be a little icon that shows up next to whatever suggested edit that they had, and you can either accept that suggested edit or not. So it's a cool way to do that. So you can help each other out that way, suggest an edit. Of course, write a review. That's super helpful for our friends. And this is kind of a cool one. I don't know, maybe it's not cool for you. I'm just a bit of a geek. But if you want extra points and whatever, you can sign up to be a part of this Share Your World as a local guide. So on that, if you're interested, I'll give you the URL. It's super easy. But it's kind of cool. So you get, if you're traveling, I'll get an alert that says, hey, what was your experience at this place based off of my map locations? And sometimes it'll just send me notifications like, hey, have you been to Harmony Spirits? Why don't you tell us about your experience? And so it's kind of a cool way if you have, if you really want to get involved in Google and some different things. It's just kind of fun, and you get like points and whatever, so you can be competitive that way. But anyway, it's kind of fun to do. So, nothing. You just get like elite status and stuff. It's like kind of cool. You do not get money, just to be clear. There is no financial, zero on that. All right, and just a few final thoughts I'd share with you. Again, going back full circle, be super purposeful with your Google business page. I know we talk about that with social media. It's like, social media, social media, social media. But this is the monster. This is Google. So have purpose in this as well. So be purposeful. Review and update. Continually go back into your Google profile periodically. Set a timer on your phone, whatever it is, monthly or something, and just say, is this, if I were someone new coming to my business, is this exactly what I want them to know about me? So, and again, Google is making updates to those profiles all the time. So you may not know that there's some new hot button that you should have had chosen and participated in. So I encourage you to go there. Think about posts as well, like what does your audience want to know about you in the moment? So think about Google as in the moment. I'm Googling you for a reason. There is a purpose for this Google search. So give them the information in the blink of an eye that they would be looking for in that moment. Are you closed on a snow day? Okay, stuff like that. And then use all those tools to your advantage. I know there's a lot of tools that were in there, and I only highlighted 2 really good ones. But use the tools that are available to you. I mean, there's a reason that Google puts those tools out there. So take advantage of those to the best of your ability. And that's all I got. Yay! So coming up next is analyzing metrics and identifying target markets. Don't leave. It's really important. 10-minute break. Okay, we're getting it. Do I have time for Q&A? Q&A?
So let's say you're working with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
You don't have money yet to do a website.
Yeah.
What's the best way to promote the individual businesses that are part of the Chamber?
Oh, that's such a great question. So I would certainly do a Google, make sure you Google business pages on there, and then you could do posts for all of those businesses and link in those posts to those businesses directly. And that
Under more, would that be where you put that then?
What's that?
Under the more section?
No, they're in the post update data section. Let me see if I can whip on back there. Add update. You can do it there, or you can, if you scroll through here, you'll see post. Right? The one I shared with you was the event. If I get back there, right here. So you can add an update, and these are posts. So it'll go into, it will land, hang on, it will land there. So even though that's an event, posts would be there as well. Yep.
Are you limited to the number of updates that you can?
No, Google likes Google stuff. Do a lot of them. Yeah. And then you can share that post on your social media. Hi.
Suppose you're a nonprofit with no physical location, no telephone, and no business hours. Is there any point in going through all of this to increase the searchability of your website?
Close.
Close, yes.
Well, you don't have a website, right?
We do have a website.
Oh, then I for sure do it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason is because when you go through that business profile and you link your website to your profile, right, then they know that you're a legitimate business, and that will help in your organic searches. So you can still write all of your About Us section, and all of that is searchable, yeah, and get them over to that. Yeah. Google likes Google stuff. Q&A over? No. Hi.
What if you have this website, like somebody else created a website a while ago and it's not getting updated?
So you have a current website and an old website. You take your old website and do a 401 redirect to your new website. So anyone that goes to your old website is automatically getting to your new website. That's a different class. But I'm happy to help you with that. All right, I think we're going to take a 10-minute break before we get into the metrics. Are we good? All right, and I'm here, you guys, so feel free to grab me. I'm happy to share any thoughts or help for you. You're welcome. All right, good evening again. You have the pleasure of listening to me one more time. Hopefully that last one wasn't too painful for you and you stick around for this next one. So I am going to start the third and final presentation. My name again is Tracy Lauritsen. And by the way, I did leave some business cards around. Cracker Jack, yeah. So feel free to, throw them in the garbage on your way out. All right, so just kidding. All right. So in this segment, I just fell asleep. Hold on. Stay tuned. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Okay, whew, that was quick. Gotta love that Touch ID. Okay, for real though, skipping rope. All right, in this third and final segment, we're going to talk about analyzing metrics and identifying your target markets. And so I'm going to send you on a little bit of a journey, and hopefully when we get to the end, you'll see how this all wraps up into a bow. But all right, so let's get started. I'm not going to introduce myself because I think y'all know from just a moment ago, but if you don't remember who I am, just yell. And this is my business. So. All right, and sorry I put that in there because I didn't know what order we're going in or anything like that, so keep my intro in there. Okay, so let's get started with this fun stuff. So analyzing metrics. Who's already snoring? Okay. Whew. Okay, well, all right, I'm going to try not to lose you here. All right, so believe it or not, you probably, if you're doing anything digitally, you have access to data. And so there's just so many different components of where to get this information. I mean, I just showed you on Google Business, right? I know we didn't get into it, but there's an analyze button over there. So there's tons of ways that you can capture or understand your customers' data. And so the flaw, though, is people are like, yeah, but I don't know what that means. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have time for it, et cetera, et cetera. But really, I have this whole, data is a stage, but really the goal is to humanize the data. And I know that sounds stupid and really simple, but that's really what this is all about. The data are actual people. So if you just think about that and keep that in mind, it's not necessarily, the stats are really fun and exciting, but if you completely think about that stat as a human, you'll get a lot further in this journey of how to get more of those humans. Is that fair? Kind of think about it that way a little bit? I know. I'm a data analytics person and I'm telling you to humanize the data. Crazy. Yep, that's me. Okay, so this is a typical website, right? And I'm going to start with the monster, and that monster is Google Analytics. And why I say that Google Analytics is a monster, so if anyone's not familiar with Google Analytics, it is a way to get data based off of your actual website users. So there's just a little tag that we attach to it. I won't get into that, how you do it today. It's a whole nother segment that we do. But any of whoever handles your web development can do this for you. And just remember, Google Analytics is free. So if anyone tries to charge you for Google Analytics, I would call their bluff because it is free. They may charge you to implement it, but do not let them charge you to use it, okay? All right, so Google Analytics, seriously, it's the monster. Over 29 million websites have Google Analytics installed. And there's a whole bunch of different segments within it. And for time today, I'm going to focus on two areas, demographics and interests. And I think interests are like the most exciting for me. And again, I'll show you kind of how this wraps up into a bow all at the end. So hang with me on this one. All right, so Google Analytics. So inside Google Analytics, those two segments that I talked about, they're going to be in your audience section. So these are the different areas in which, when you get into Google Analytics, that you can choose, home, I want to look at who's looking at my website in real time, blah, 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 blah. But we're going to focus on the audience section for today's purposes. So within the audience section, we also have all of these different things that we can look at within the audience. And I'm going to show you demographics today and interests today. And you'll see why in just a sec. So demographics, you're like, yep, I got it. Basic information, right? How many of my website users, so people that have been on my website, are woman versus male. Okay, this is great information to know. And then of that, what are their age categories? And you're like, yeah, that's super basic information, Trace. I could tell you that because I see the 10 people that walk through my door every day. I get that. But we're going to take this a little bit deeper because we want to know precisely who these people are from a data analytics standpoint so that we can target more of them. If they're on your website, they're actively on your website for a reason, and most likely we want more of them. Right? Does that make sense? So we want to know this from a data standpoint, not from who's walking in the door standpoint. And again, I'll get to what this means in a little bit here. And then the next section, or before we get into the next section of interest, I just want to remind everyone again that Google Analytics is also tied directly to Google Ads. So if you understand your Google Analytics, you can swiftly make ad purchases based off of the same criteria. And so it's just a really easy way to think about this. And I'll show you what that means here in just a second. But I just want you to transition that, not just from a user perspective, but how do I get some paid information out there too. So we talked about organic, but we'll talk about some paid stuff here too. All right, so we talked about demographics. The interests are very exciting to me. There's 3 different categories within interests. There's the first one that's called, Google makes weird names, the affinity category. We'll get into it in a minute. The in-market segment, and then the other category. And so what does that mean directly? So when you're in here and you're looking at your website users, we're going to look at what else they do on Google. And this is where that information is going to come from. And you're like, who cares? Let me tell you why you care. All right, because this is how we target them. So if you think about, does anyone know what a sales funnel is, right? Oh my gosh, I got glaring eyes right now. Sales funnel. So just think of a funnel, right? Big at the top, small at the bottom. Big is you want to stretch out as far as you can and tell everyone that you're available and that you're open, right? So that's the top of the sales funnel. You want as many people to see you as possible. But what you really want is them to get down to the purchase part of the funnel. That's where you care the most, okay? So this is how that relates into that. If you think about these 3 as sales funnels, this is your first one, reach. So the affinity category is your reach, the top of the sales funnel. So this is what your website users are doing across the web, okay? They are mostly interested in food and dining. They're outdoor enthusiasts. They care about investments. They care about home and garden, lifestyles, all of these different categories. So if I am in marketing and I would like to reach more people from a broad perspective, I want more people to know that I am in business, I would want to consider advertising in categories that I know my website users are interested in. Does this make sense? Right? It's pretty simple. Humanize them. So these are the humans, these are other things that they're doing. So that's the broad reach. Lots of eyeballs are going here. The next category is the consideration phase, I call that anyway, and that's the in-market segment. This is where they're getting down to that buyer's journey, that buyer's funnel, to say, I'm actually really interested in doing a search for something specific. Okay, so this is where they're in that I'm considering to make a buy moment. So for this example here, this in-segment customer could probably be an insurance company. See how I got you there? Yeah, all right. Because they're interested in automobiles, they're interested in real estate, used vehicles, travel, so maybe they're moving, right? So these would be, right? Does this make sense? This would be an insurance potentially. It could also be a financial institution, a bank giving out loans for automobiles or real estate, right? So I won't tell you the type of business this is. It's a real business. But this makes sense, right? They're doing these types of searches that are in that funnel phase. They're ready to make a purchase. And so you want to be active when they're making these searches. So think about this. If you want that funnel, right, and you know that they're searching for a new home, real estate purchase, you probably want to serve up some insurance ads to them that say that you have homeowners insurance. You guys are good after a couple of drinks in the third round here. Woo! So proud of you. All right, I haven't lost yet. It's awesome. All right. So, and then this last segment is where they're spending a majority of their time. So here in this category, they're spending, again, searching through the web. This is where they're not just like broadly out there. This is where they spend a majority of their time. So again, think about what that ad might be that you want to serve up to them in these categories. So this particular one is news and weather, sports, entertainment, sports teams, specifically American football. Okay, so if this was your other category, interested web users, right, maybe you want to consider making purchases in the NFL, right? Football league of sort. They're also said that they're into TV and video and online. So just again, think about that. This really helps. So you're not just spreading out like, where should I spend my marketing dollars? This is really telling you who your website customers are and where, if you want more of them because they're good customers of yours, this is where you may find them because they're similar, right? Does that make sense in that sales funnel? Okay, good. All right. So moving on, so that's Google Analytics, and again, there's a whole lot more involved in it. I'm just giving you some little snippets here. But before I forget, if you do have Google Analytics installed, I just want everyone to know that there's a major update happening to Google Analytics 4. It's called GA4. It'll take effect June 1st. But if you haven't migrated that from your current Google Analytics standpoint, you want to get that migrated as soon as possible. Otherwise, Google will make the migration for you, but they'll do it based off of their criteria, and some things might not work out real well. So I would encourage you to go in and get that updated to GA4. It's pretty simple to do, but anyway, I didn't put that in here just because it's so time sensitive and whatnot. But yeah, GA4, you want to make sure you get that updated too. All right, moving on. Social media metrics also has lots of data in it, right? And I won't go into all the nitty-gritty, of course, but I'm just trying to give you some highlights. So you can see what your current audience is. So if you have Facebook followers, Instagram, by the way, is the exact same thing because they're the same, meta, business, intertwined. So if you only have Instagram, it will look exactly like this, same information. But for the sake of time, I didn't put it in. So again, you can see basic information, the metrics between, male and female, their age groups, and the highest level of those age groups. So, in this specific category here, their highest Facebook users or followers, are women between the ages of 35 to 44-year-olds, okay? So again, if I want to target and hyper-target and spend less dollars hyper-targeting, I'm going to go after the areas that most of my users or my followers are currently in, if that makes sense, right? Doesn't mean you don't care about the rest, but if you're, you want to spend your dollars wisely, I would go after that market first, okay? And then you can also see from this current information where the top cities that those followers, are in. So if you have multiple locations, that's, kind of nice to see, are the majority of them from this town or that town? Maybe I want to get more from that town because, whatever. So you can take a look at that here as well. LinkedIn is a little bit different, and I put this in here because I know that there's probably a lot of B2B people here, and LinkedIn really is focused more on the career side of social media. It doesn't mean it's not a valid social media, it's used differently, and so the metrics as well are different, and so I just want to show you a couple of things and what that means here. So instead of, how you saw the audience profiles on the other channels, Google Analytics and Facebook there, this is different. You can search by job function, company size, industry, locations, what the person's seniority is within the organization. And then within those as well, you can take a deeper dive. So specifically, as an example, in job function, I can see the type. So these are my followers on LinkedIn. They are mostly in the operations category of business, and then business development, sales, etc. So if I want more of them, I can hyper-target businesses, individuals that say they're in the operations portion. That's a part of their title of their work. So a different way to think about this as well. And so just another example of followers, we can look at that in those same segments, but also by location. So where are my followers mostly located, or they say that they're mostly located in. So again, able to hyper-target that way. YouTube, I put in here because it is, I'm not sure who all has YouTube channels, but again, Google likes Google stuff, and if you didn't know that Google owns YouTube, so have a channel if you have any videos. But there's a lot of cool things actually in Google YouTube Analytics that I think are super powerful, and I'll show you some of the things. But you do also get basic information like, how many how many viewers, they call them, right, in YouTube, how many viewers were on your channel, how long they watched, how many hours of video they watched, how many new subscribers you've received over a certain period of time. You can see if they got to your YouTube page from an external link, so maybe they got there from Facebook post or your website or something like that. That would be that external one. The YouTube search, so they searched for something and happened to find your video, so it's always good to know there. And then over there, the top videos that were actually viewed on your channel are listed there. This is, I think, YouTube does kind of a cool job. So they actually look at this like a sales funnel, if you're close enough to be able to see that like slide down here. So they're saying, from a sales funnel standpoint, this page got 28,000 impressions, so eyeballs viewing, and then 1.4 thousand actual views, and then that translated to 58 minutes of viewing time on their channel during that duration that we chose. And then you can see if they're, returning visitors to your channel or new visitors to your channel. You can see if they are subscribers or not subscribed. So if this was my client, I'd strongly encourage them to do some work on getting people to subscribe to their channel. There's some different tricks to do that, but anyway. Noting for self. And then you can, again, see that geography, like where are they from? When I view it. So all three of those channels, I just want to show you that, are very different, right, in the type of metrics that they show and how they show that. And so humanizing any of those to think about how I can get more of them, whatever channel you're using to get more of them, those are different ways to kind of think about that. If you don't have any of those metrics and you're like, I don't know, that's just overwhelming for me, I have no idea, go ahead and use your personas. And if you don't have a persona created, were you guys in the persona one? You haven't been to the persona one. Sorry. It's a good one. You need to create a persona, and we can do that with a lot of different ways to do that. I have some toolkits that we can help you with to get to those personas, but essentially you want to do the same thing. But think about this, all of you have vastly different customers, right? So not one of you people probably have the same type of customer that cares about the same things. And so really humanizing them to get to that tight moment of being able to advertise to them goes way beyond the basics of gender gender, and age. You want to get to that third criteria, right, of Google Analytics that I shared with you, that are those additional aspects. What are their hobbies and interests? What are their ideals and values? What are their lifestyles like? Where do they spend their time and energy? That's the money part. That's where you're going to get the most advantage out of spending the least amount of dollars to really hyper target those people. Does that make sense? Okay, good. You guys are getting quiet on me. All right. All right, so I just threw a couple of quick slides in here on identifying your social markets, because I get asked, what channel should I be on? Does it matter? Blah, 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 blah. So here's just some really quick metrics, and this does not mean do these metrics because they're heavy hitters. So just super quick, YouTube is the #1 used social media channel by US adults on a monthly basis, okay? So it's really powerful. It's actually the second largest search engine after Google, believe it or not. So super, super high usability into that channel. This is sheer users, so the actual monthly users in different social media channels. And I just want you to see, if you can tell the darker red to the lighter red over here, this whole darker red side is in billions with a B, monthly. So yes, Facebook is still, almost 3 billion monthly active users, okay? I know, it's a giant. And then this is just a quick breakdown on the different demographics from monthly usability search. So, Facebook's kind of, has like the, very similar, it's not super high up and down. Instagram, you can see, has a couple of spikes there with those younger demographics, the 18 to 34-year-olds. LinkedIn monitors theirs a little bit differently, so it's a little wonky. So that giant spike over there is really 35 to 54-year-olds combined. They do their metrics a little bit differently. So again, it doesn't mean if you're a 44-year-old and you want more 44-year-olds, you should drop everything and jump on LinkedIn. So don't think about it that way. I just want you to see, what the true metrics are, so you can think about who those customers are and maybe consider, adding another channel or dropping a channel. By the way, you don't have to be on everything. Just be on the ones that really matter to your personas. So this is just a real quick visual of some of that information to kind of think about. So if your target market is an adult woman, this is where she spends her time in social media. 81% of adult women are on YouTube, 69% on Facebook, 40% on Instagram, and 28% of them are on LinkedIn. Does that make sense? And then in comparison, if your target market is a young lady under 24 years old, 18 to 24 years old, 76% of them are on Instagram. 75% of them are on Snapchat, and 55% of them are on TikTok. So visually, you can see how these are much different individuals and maybe how you would target them, if that makes sense. All right, so bringing this kind of around to targeting them. So now I know all this information, like, what do I do with it? How do I make this work for me? So you can do a couple of different things. Let's say Facebook is an area that you want to go to and find out if there's more potential audience for what you're looking for. You can go to Facebook or Instagram, again, exact same thing, and you can do a filter. So you can say, okay, I want to know. Remember Google Analytics a little bit ago? The demographic was like, 35 to 44-year-olds in Rochester, and they liked local news, right? So I know that's my users on my channel on my website. So I wonder if I can get more of them to start to follow me on Facebook, so I can serve ads up to them, right? So you can add these filters in here and say, is there more of them? Or how many more of them? Do I care? Is there enough audience for me? So I just did a quick search here on a real customer and put in a location, Rochester, Minnesota. I put in that age group, 35 to 45, and that their interests are in local news. Like, wonder how many people there are for me to serve up ads to. And the results are there's between 12,000 and 14,000 active Facebook users within that criteria that I could create campaigns to. So does this help kind of bring all that data full circle and how you could use that later? And then this tells me that demographic breakdown. So out of those 12,000, 14,000, there's most of them are, the gender ages are here, so women versus men. It's not too far off, but that's the demographic breakdown of those. So if I wanted to filter out just that 45 to 54, I could filter that out and make that just this demographic here if I wanted to. But then you can do, taking that one more step further, I can also see out of that 12,000 people, what other pages they follow, the top pages that they follow. So in this True Customer, all of those people, the top page that they followed was KTTC News. So if I knew that, maybe this is an area that I would want to consider from a marketing standpoint or advertising standpoint. Does that help at all? Okay, great. All right, go ahead.
And
yeah.
that's found right in Facebook? Or is that
This is in Facebook. Yep.
is that a Meta?
In Meta. Yep. In the analytics section. Yep. And then you can, if you wanted, then right from there, just that search that you just did, you can start to create audiences from there and start serving them ads. So that one that I just did would have been, create a saved audience. I would have saved that and been able to do ads to them. But you can create lookalike audiences as well. Okay, here's my Facebook page. I wanted more of them. Just figure it out, right? Or you can create custom audiences in a variety of different ways. So yeah.
They always ask you if you want boost.
Yeah, that's different.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. Boosting a post is different than serving up ads.
Boost it to a certain audience.
No, so a boosted ad is like you created an ad on your feed and then you can boost it, yes, to an audience. I mean, you put criteria into it, but this is different. You would create a specific ad to serve just to this market, not something in your feed. Okay. Yeah. Yep. And then LinkedIn, again, I just want to show you a couple different ways to do this, bringing everything around full circle. So again, LinkedIn is a little bit different type of audience, but you can do the same metrics or the same type of concept. So over there to the right, you can upload a list. So if you have a business list that you want to serve ads to, you can import that into here, and then if their information matches a profile, they'll get served up those ads. You can do retargeting, and then you can create as well lookalikes from that. So different ways that you can target these audiences that you might be beneficial for you. And then YouTube, there's so much analytics within YouTube I think is just so powerful. And a couple of areas that I wanted to share with you to get, again, some more hyper-targeting is in the audience section, so kind of further down into the metrics of those. You can see when the time frame in which your viewers are on YouTube, so that helps you decide when you should be, posting a new video or doing things like that. Super helpful. Other channels that your audience watches, so you can kind of get a feel for their lifestyle and things that they're interested in, or maybe it's competitors and you can see what they're doing that you can do better. Not the same, always better, right? Yeah, we never do anything that our competitor does. We always do it better. Other videos that your audience may have watched, that might help you get some creative ideas, right? And then some basic demographic information. What I think is really cool is in the search function of YouTube. So you can say, what were the search terms that someone used to find my channel or my video? And I think that's really powerful to think about, because then you can use, that would be a great way to think about your keywords and making sure, if I go back to my last presentation in Google, I want to make sure if people are searching this term, I want to make sure that that's in my profile somewhere so that I become more and more and more searchable because they got to my channel, so this must be something interesting to them. What also I think is super powerful is you can type in specific keywords or key terms and say, economic development, is that a highly popular key term that's searchable for people to find channels? And it will come up with a report that says, well, actually, economic growth and development is the highest in relation to that. But economic development is there, and it's categorized as medium. So I might change my search term or my keyword terms, right, to include some of this content information. So it's just knowledge for you to use. Hopefully this is helpful for you in figuring out ways to kind of bring this around full circle and utilize some of this data that's at your fingertips, hopefully very easily, and not get too deep in the weeds on you. And that's really all I had. I know there's a whole lot more I could have dived into with that segment, but that's I just wanted to make sure everyone understood how to read metrics and then how to utilize them when it got to the end. So, any questions? Everyone okay? I didn't lose you totally? You're just ready to go get another drink. Okay, perfect. I'm off duty, and Allison has some closing words. I can't go far.
I really want to thank Chris and Kaylin for their work on this tonight, and Tracy. This was amazing, and I think we probably all picked something up, right? So thank you guys so much for coming here tonight. Thank you all. I just wanted to remind everyone